What's up, folks? I'm Chris, your MLB writer here at Occupy Fantasy, here with a look at the 8-game main slate on DraftKings. It's a 7-game main slate over on FanDuel for Monday, July 11th here in MLB DFS. And Mad Max Scherzer is on the mound for the New York Mets tonight against the Atlanta Braves. He is our favorite play in the Occupy model at starting pitcher, which is where we like to start looking at slates. Scherzer with a 17.1 OF index projects for an astronomical 1.48 strikeouts per inning tonight. He has no StatCast data in our model because he's just returned from the injured list, made only one start in the last couple of weeks, so that data will probably come in the next time he throws. Now, this projection does stand out to me as potentially a little too high. Scherzer averages 1.26 strikeouts per inning. Now, Atlanta at one point this year was striking out a ton. In fact, if you go back about a month in our video history here on the Occupy Fantasy channel, you'll find videos where I was talking about Atlanta striking out at the highest rate in Major League Baseball against anyone. But that is no longer the case. The Braves actually strike out at a below average rate against right-handed pitching. This is the last 30 days of play over on Fangraphs.com. Splits against right-handed pitching since June 11th. We see Atlanta has the 18th highest strikeout rate, so they're basically average now, 22%. They're right in the middle of the pack in terms of how often they strike out. The other thing to be aware of with Atlanta, they have the highest weighted on base average against right-handed pitching over the last 30 days, second highest weighted runs created, and then when you look at just the regular statistics here, Atlanta has the most home runs in baseball against right-handed pitching over the last 30 days of play. Taking all of that into consideration, Scherzer is a plus 110 moneyline underdog against the Braves tonight, so it's baked into the projection here that this is a high-risk spot to deploy Max Scherzer. He is our number one pitcher in our model this evening, but I do think that I would lean towards only using him in high-risk contests on FanDuel specifically tonight. I think he's probably someone you want to play on DraftKings given the two-pitcher requirement over there. Brian Bellow of the Boston Red Sox, talked about him a little bit last week when he pitched against the Rays. He has tremendous strikeout upside, but he got beat up pretty good in his Major League debut at Fenway Park. He's got the same matchup now on the road at Tropicana Field in Tampa Bay, which may actually be a more friendly environment for him. This is mostly a salary play, $5,000 on DraftKings. Bellow still in this spot here where he could be a really viable starting pitcher too. That helps you jam a bunch of the expensive bats on one of these other stud pitchers. We have a 1.3 strikeout per inning projection for Bellow this evening, hoping for a little bit of a better performance. I would consider him high risk only, and I would not use him on FanDuel given the other great options here on the slate. Now, Aaron Nola with the Philadelphia Phillies may actually have the best matchup of the stud pitchers on this slate. Scherzer and Fried facing each other's respective teams that hit pretty well. But Nola's got a St. Louis Cardinals lineup that has actually started to perform poorly over the last few days of play. Like Scherzer, Nola should pitch long enough to get you a win, be eligible for a win and the quality start, which is 6 innings, 3 runs or less. So you have to like what he brings against the Cardinals this evening. 1.1 strikeout per inning projected. He's the only other pitcher projected for high strikeout upside other than the two above him in our model tonight. And the recent batted ball data is very good for Aaron Nola. Now, Max Fried, the strikeout stuff is not really there. He averages less than a strikeout per inning. We project him for that here fairly against the Mets, but he would be the other pitcher I would consider on this slate because he does typically pitch more than 6 innings in his outings. I think these 4 guys at the top are the only ones I'm really considering, and I'm not considering Bellow on FanDuel where we need 5, 6+ innings and win eligibility. Now, this is a Coors Field slate, so that means we are probably considering both of the offenses in Colorado. Looking at the lowest ranked pitchers in our starting pitcher model, Jose Urena is pitching for the Rockies against the San Diego Padres, so I suspect we like the Padres quite a bit tonight. Alex Faedo of the Tigers against the Kansas City Royals, Adrian Martinez against the Rangers, and Sean Manaea, who is a very high-quality pitcher, against the Rockies on the road, is probably someone we're going to be targeting with stacks tonight in our stacks dashboard. Faedo, looking at our batted ball data in the model here, allowing a pretty hard batted ball exit velocity and pretty far batted ball distance on average. Looks like one of the pitchers worth targeting on this slate, more so than any of the other ones based off of his batted ball data. Over in the stacks dashboard, it's the Rockies and the Padres, number 1 and number 2 at Coors Field, which has a relatively high adjustment for hitters due to the forecast this evening. Just 80 degrees today in Colorado. but we have a 17% adjustment to hitters with a wind blowing out to center field. You'll see this be probably popular on both sides. We give the edge to the Rockies, which is kind of interesting because they're the underdog tonight against Manaea, who's the better pitcher. Number 1 by OF index, number 4 by weighted on base average, number 2 by isolated slugging, number 6 by implied team total on the slate. The Padres going against Urania, maybe the more popular side that the field plays tonight, especially with highest projected weighted on base average and the highest implied team total. Now, using the lineup builder at OccupyFantasy.com, I actually did get mostly Colorado stacks in my lineups. Over 50% of my lineups got Colorado as either a secondary or a primary stack. That shouldn't be a surprise with their really, really high OF index ranking this evening. San Diego was in the mix, Kansas City as well. Detroit actually popped a little bit on DraftKings, probably as a salary play and due to this high weighted on base average as well. Looking at the Rockies first and foremost, since they are our favorite stack tonight. Sean Manaea is a lefty. He's a good pitcher. He allows an elite isolated slugging specifically to right-handed hitters, so that may be an interesting matchup to exploit this evening given the weather environment. Connor Joe, Charlie Blackmon, Brendan Rodgers, Elias Diaz, and even Jonathan Daza here at the bottom all have elite weighted on base average historically against left-handed pitchers, so these are some guys that I would focus on in tournaments with the Rockies this evening. San Diego facing Colorado's pitcher Jose Urania. Urania has poor splits against left-handed hitters, so that's good news for guys like Trent Grisham, Jake Cronenworth, Eric Hosmer, and CJ Abrams, even here at the bottom. Those are guys that I would consider, other than obviously the ones we have ranked fairly highly in this matchup against Urania. Now, the Royals are facing Alex Faedo, who I mentioned had that poor batted ball data on his profile. This is only a DraftKings play, not available on FanDuel or Yahoo. It looks like there's some position conflicts. We can't play 2 first basemen, for example, here with Pasquantino and Hunter Dozier, but there may be some secondary stack appeal here with the Royals. Faedo allowing an elite isolated slugging to left-handed hitters specifically, so your left-handed Royals, guys like Andrew Benintendi, may be interesting in this spot tonight. Now, over on DraftKings, I'm not getting too cute here in single entry stuff. I'm considering Scherzer. I'm considering 5 high upside Rockies bats. You can go with Bellow, the Red Sox, and still have plenty of salary to do something. You can really try to get creative and jam both of the high upside aces on this slate, Scherzer and Nola. little over $3,000 per player remaining for your final 3 spots. Definitely doable, I would say, and this may be a path worth considering. Over on FanDuel, Scherzer, 4 high upside Rockies hitters. That's how I think I'm going to attack the slate tonight. If you want to talk about MLB DFS right up until lock, we have members in our Discord doing that basically every single day. There's a link to join our Discord below the description of every video that we post on this channel. We'd love to see you in there. Keep an eye out for the daily plug we posted at OccupyFantasy.com by about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where we'll have our final rankings for today's slate. Good luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow for more MLB DFS.